Welcome back. This is your official Sector Trends this morning. My name is Elijah Charles. Get involved at Metropole TVKE across all your social media platforms. You can also talk to us live in the studio 20146. Let's table the conversation that we have for you this morning, therefore. Now, people living with disabilities often exhibit extraordinary talents that can make them succeed and contribute to the world economy every day. But two questions arise. How can they be equipped to know where to go for help, and what kind of support do they actually need to fully equip them in running their business and achieving their career goals? Now, to answer these questions and other more questions around in this area of people living with disability insights is Iram Bahawal, who is the program manager at Enable Me Kenya, as well as an inclusion expert. Iram, happy to have you around.
Thank you.
Let's begin by understanding Enable Me Kenya before we table that conversation this morning.
Oh, brilliant. So Enable Me Kenya is an online platform that has been developed by, in partnership with My Handicap International and Light for the World Kenya and the United Disabled Persons of Kenya. So there's a consortium of the three that have come together and built a online platform that specifically targets persons with disability. And it's an information center, resource point, and a networking space for persons with disabilities and their community.
Yes.
That is what it is.
I like how you represent it. Yes. Now, someone's going to ask you the question. It's a resource information and a networking center.
Yes.
The government is always stressing on how they have identified persons living with disabilities and giving them those opportunities. You like to think that that space is well served by the government. Is it not?
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's not.
What is lacking, especially when it comes to that space for people living with disabilities?
In terms of information, we have information scattered all over the place.
Yes.
So Enable Me is bringing all that information to one place.
I see.
Right?
I see.
In addition to that, when we're talking about the resource points, we're looking at places, information around probably where do you get your tenders, what sort of jobs are there available,
That's true.
How do you put up your CV, all that kind of information. We bring that all that information into one resource center, one resource point.
Yes.
Right? In addition to that, if you're looking about networking, do we have a platform that the government has provided where persons with disabilities can network with different FMCGs that provide products that are inclusive, different banks that have products that are inclusive, different suppliers, assistive devices, and even just bringing people with disabilities together for peer-to-peer sort of support.
Yes.
We do that.
Okay, let's talk about it, Iram, like this.
Yes.
Then. When you bring them together,
yes.
Does it start from knowing who is a person living with disability? Is that where it begins?
Yes, it's about you knowing you're a person with disability.
Yes.
And me reaching out and saying, I've just had an accident and both my legs have been amputated.
Yes.
Has somebody else gone through the same? And I say, yes, I have gone through the same. How was it? And that's the peer-to-peer support we're talking about.
Yes.
Because then you're not alone. You're not walking that journey alone. We're walking with you, right?
Yes.
As a community.
That is it.
Right?
Yes.
So we give you the platform, and all people with disabilities and the communities and interested parties meet there.
Now let's talk about the opportunities that actually exist for people living with disabilities.
Across the country?
Yes, across the country. Is it a different opportunity? Do they get elevated to get these opportunities?
The opportunities are there. Do they get elevated? I don't think so.
Yes.
I think that the gap that is there is the information out there that the opportunities are available to them.
Yes.
One. And two is, for those without disabilities, are we aware that we can create those opportunities for persons with disabilities?
I see that.
So it's a two-way, right? Because if I'm a person without a disability and I have a job opening, am I open to giving it to a person without a disability? And if I am, then how do I get that information out to the person with a disability to know that you're qualified for this job, please apply.
Yes.
So that's where the gap is. The opportunities are there, but how do you create them and how do you fit it to them is the gap.
Pretty much. So when you look at the Kenyan environment around from what you're saying this morning, have we really done enough to support people living with disability within the Kenyan economy?
No way. We have a long way.
I like how you say, no way, we have a long way to go. I mean, where are we when you look at it? What
We're
is missing?
just starting.
Yes.
We've just started to recognize persons with disabilities.
Yes.
We are now out there educating people and, just creating awareness that they are just like me and you.
Yes.
Right? There are opportunities that you should give them. You need to allocate resources for them. And again, they're not special people. They're not. So other than just creating that opportunities, we are also starting to change mindsets because that's where it has to start from.
Yes.
Right? And that's not easy. When you grew up, how many people with disabilities did you know?
I'd like to say a lot.
Where did you know them from?
Just seeing them in the community.
Doing what?
Living like the rest of us, isn't it?
Are you sure? Were they going to the borehole to pick water?
Yes, they were.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
A man on a wheelchair?
No.
There you go.
It starts
And
from
why?
there.
Why? Because your boreholes were not accessible.
I say no.
So because your borehole is not accessible, he can't do it.
Yes.
Right? Because you have a child with severe disabilities, or probably even not severe, a hearing impairment, they can't go to mainstream school. So what do? Sit at home, farm when their age mates are going to school?
Starts from there. Right, let's talk about Enable Me Kenya, therefore, the way that during this time that you've been in operation, what are some of the milestones that give you the optimism that, yes, you are headed in the right direction?
I think the buy-in of the users, the users of the persons with disabilities, they've got to buy in. It's a journey. We haven't taken up to 100%.
Yes.
We are still starting off. But then just the engagement we've had with people with disabilities, the contributions, you'll find a lot of articles that are present on the website are written by persons with disabilities in Kenya.
Yes.
So it is fully run and contributed by them, right? That's the kind of support we're looking for. But then again, we're also going out and saying, guys, come back and contribute in the community. Tell us, what do you want to see? What is it that you're looking for? Organizations, come in, tell us, what do you want from persons with disability? What do you want to know? And then we will create that platform for you because it's open, right? That's the kind of support we're talking about. But then in terms of buy-in, we've got the buy-in from the umbrella organization, UDPK. We've got the buy-in from Light for the World. That's why they've bought into the idea and said, we will hold you down for this. We've got, the people with disabilities saying this is a brilliant idea. This is what we need. We only need more in terms of value add-ons that we're working on. And the things that we'll be coming up with is the job portal. We'll be coming up with a tender system so that if I'm a person with disability, I've registered as a supplier under AGPO, then we're listing you out there. And organizations know that at least 30% of their tenders must be allocated to women, youth, and persons with disabilities.
Yes.
Persons with disabilities take this lowest percentage simply because I don't know where to get them from. So I'm giving you that platform. Go there, get them.
Yes.
You have no excuse anymore.
So this information gap that you're trying to actually fill within the Kenyan economy, would you say that since you started operating, that you're actually reducing it day by day? And have you seen the fruit so far?
Yes, we have. We have organizations that have come to us and said, this is brilliant. Now I'm looking for people who can supply with me with honey, right? We have hotels saying, do you guys have people with honey? Light for the World runs an in-business initiative where they support micro-entrepreneurs with disabilities. And they're saying, we have these micro-entrepreneurs in Laikipia who produce one of the best honeys. Yes, they will supply you with honey, right? So we've linked to organizations, persons with disabilities and the private sector, and it's working, So It is there. We are saying that we are closing in the gap.
Yes.
But then it's a journey. We don't expect to have it closed in a year.
Pretty much. So now, talk to me therefore on
Yeah.
exactly what it is that you are working for. Because if you look at other economies, developed economies and all that, we even have persons with disabilities that are fully recognized within the constitution that A, B, C, D must happen. In fact, people are put accountable if there are no systems in place to support persons with disabilities in organizations and even in terms of infrastructure.
You will be shocked.
Yes.
As Kenya, we have policies, acts that protect people with disabilities.
Yes.
That cover them.
Yes.
An example is 5% of your total employee population must be persons with disabilities. I wouldn't want to ask how many metropoles if he has.
Yeah, I would also want you to ask and answer that live on the air, because yes.
Again, are we on that journey? Do we have people who are held accountable for that? That is where the problem is.
Is that
and that's where Enable Me is coming in,
Yes.
and Light for the World, and saying we want to educate you, we want to handhold you, we want to be able to close this gap
Yes.
by initiating. We don't want to seem like it's a forced situation, like you're being forced to do it because the legislature says you have to do it. It's a regulatory requirement, but you've got to see the added value, especially for the private sector.
I see.
We are educating you to see that there's a return of investment for every cent or dollar you spend investing in a person with disability. This is how much you will get in return. So you're seeing a value in it.
I'm also thinking that
Yes.
this is a conversation, therefore, that needs you to get into deeper partnerships with different
Exactly.
organizations and sectors within the economy. What are those that we're expecting soon to see you get into?
So I don't want to declare who we are working
Yes,
with,
yes.
but we have a number in the financial sector who've come in and said, I'm pretty sure you know the Kenya Bankers Association has said that we need to get into inclusive financial institutions,
Yes.
where the products are inclusive, the technology is inclusive, the banking halls are accessible. So we are supporting a number of them. We have a number of county governments we're supporting in terms of including persons with disabilities in their different projects, in their different mandates that they're running. You know, if you're building a market, how can it be inclusive? Have you put in a location for persons with disabilities? We have a private sector in terms of just ensuring that places are accessible. Can a wheelchair access it? Are your products inclusive? And some of this we do it as an organization, but then we also onboard persons with disability to actually carry out the assessment to give you a real feel of the experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Now, Aram, just as we come to the end of this conversation, this is a direct question that we got from our audience as well, asking, what sort of disability do I need to have for me to be part of your umbrella?
Any disabilities.
Any
welcome.
disability.
Yes.
That's it. All right. Let me ask you another one as well that we're going through here. What are some of the challenges now that you are facing now, especially for you trying to sort of push for this conversation, which everybody does know should happen, but is not already happening the way that it should happen? We're just talking about the policies that are existing, but we cannot see the end product of these policies.
I think the challenge is getting a full buy-in from the government, but we are getting there.
Yes.
We're getting there. There's a lot of advocacy work that's being done, so that's number one. Number two, in terms of things like the buy-in of Enable Me, you're having, there's a culture that has been instilled for persons with disability, and I think it's also just in terms of the background of where they're coming from.
Yes.
Is we all believe that persons with disabilities need help, right? And that mindset has to change. That is the biggest challenge we're facing, is let's not support people with disabilities as if we want to help them, give them $1 here, give them a shilling here and all that. Let's create an equal platform for them, for all of them. If they're qualified for being a nurse, give them that job.
Interesting. Finally, let's play it like this. Enable Me Kenya in 5 years?
Oh, you're good to please. We don't need Google when we have Enable Me. We don't.
Yes.
It's for me. It's a baby that we have carried, and I just want to see it thrive as one of the best resource points for everything and anything disability related.
Pretty much. We don't need Google with Enable Me. Iram, thank you very much for taking your time to come to Metropole Television.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Pretty much, you want to find Enable Me Kenya, you do know exactly what to do. You can actually talk to us live here at Metropole TVKE, or you can actually talk to us as well, 20146, your SMS line. That was Iram Behebwal, the Program Manager, Enable Me Kenya. We take a short break. Once we come back, we look at exactly what is trending in your economy this morning. Good morning.